Thank you for listening. This episode has been brought to you by the Lewis and Henderson Real Estate Team of Aspen, Snohomish, Sotheby's International Realty.
Hi there, and welcome back to She Brands the Land, where land meets legacy. I'm Charlie Henderson, your host, and it's great to be back with you for my next episode. Today, I'm speaking with artist extraordinaire and cowgirl, Andrea Wendel. In full transparency, this is not our first rodeo. We tried to record it, I think it was last week, during that last snowstorm, and Mother Nature was not having it with us. So we are now on our third take, third time lucky. and after another snowy night, it's funny because I was thinking about this is that saying in March, like in like a lamb and out like a lion. Well, that's May for us. So anyhow, Andrea, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So, as is customary on my podcast, the first question that I ask is, were you born in the Valley? And if you weren't, where were you born? Where did you come from? And when did you get here?
Well, I was born in Pennsylvania, very rural area, Lebanon to be exact. Lots of dairy farms and lots of cornfields. And I could not wait to get to a city. So I went to college in Philadelphia. I went to Moore College of Art. And from there, I migrated south to South Florida and had some beach time. And that's what I did with my business, where I was doing a lot of painting, custom painting for interior designers and private clients. That was residential and commercial. A lot of fabric and furniture, big paintings, and a lot of girls. I did a lot of restaurants and hotels and a lot of bathrooms. It was a lot of
Yeah.
and it was interesting because the time where the Southwest was booming and that whole design into the East Coast, and I got so into the indigenous cultures and the Native Americans that and all their art and their ceremonies. And it was before, this was in, I think, the middle 80s. And I just decided I'm going to move there. That was my whole plan to leave South Florida and move out west. And so I started taking welding classes to learn different types of art. And coincidentally, after, I was working on a bunch of different things, I was introduced to a hotel company that was based where I was living, and they had hotels all over South Florida and all over Florida, this whole state, and the Keys. And then they got into buying and building hotels during that time in Southwest. So they would ship me out to hotels and I would just get to paint walls everywhere in the hotel, the hallways, the elevators, the communal spaces, the restaurants, anything that was blank. I think I was with a paintbrush, and I got to experience that land out there. And that was what was changed everything about my aesthetic. It really inspired everything from being in that landscape and driving through all the reservations. I mean, I was in Chinle, Kayenta, Page, Arizona, or Page, Utah, and Monument Valley, a lot in Albuquerque. So I was immersed in that world. And I didn't wind up living there. I wound up in Aspen. I moved here, and I think I came out on a ski vacation with a girlfriend in 90, and I think I was full-time here by 93. And it wound up to be a better fit for my husband at the time. And it was wonderful to be here. I was so lucky to land in that town.
Lovely. Well, Andrea, I really share your love of the Southwest. Just beautiful landscapes, and I love the drive from Aspen when you go over the pass to Colorado Springs and then down to Santa Fe. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, did I go through Colorado Springs? No, the way to Santa Fe is actually further down, right? And so, yeah, that's a beautiful drive. We did it.
There's two ways to go. You go past Moab and go out that way, which is
Oh,
prettier. It's, you go around the highway. It's beautiful that way.
wow, maybe that would be my next trip.
It
You and I
really-
share a love of Santa Fe. You've spent a lot of time there. So you get to Aspen, like in my mind, I see Andrea Wendel coming across Castle Creek Bridge on a horse with a welding iron. Tell us about the early years in Aspen and what you up to.
Well, first thing I did was get a horse. And then I got my studio as well. And I got another horse and then another horse and then another horse.
Works that way.
So I collected some fur and I was competing in cutting for many years at those, in the summers during those years. And I was doing a lot of traveling from, I think, Wyoming down to New Mexico was my section. And so I was gone a lot, just riding horses and hauling to these tiny little towns that were just amazing, crappy hotel and bars that had terrible vodka. Learned how to travel with a flask. And so
I know it's like Motel 6 at the horse shows. But for the audience that doesn't know what cutting is, could you tell us what cutting is?
Okay, cutting horses were bred so that they go into a herd on the ranch. It's mostly, for ranching, where you could take a cow away from its herd in order to doctor it or brand, or it just has to be separated. So these horses were bred that way. And so in competition, there's a herd of cows. You go into the herd and you take one out. And then this cow wants to get back to its friends. Your horse is in there and you just go back, and the horse stops the cow from getting back to the herd. And it is a ride of a lifetime. You would just love it. I'm not kidding. You would love it.
It's one of the disciplines that I haven't gotten into. Coincidentally, my horse Apple, he's bred out of Smart Little Lena, which is a cutting horse line.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when we herd cows at the ranch, like he's so like jazzed, and I mean, you can tell like his breed line. Cutting horses are bred that way. I mean, it's in their blood. And honestly, you don't have to do the horse does a lot more than you do. And a lot of the time, you just got your hand on the front of the horn, the saddle horn, right? And the horse does most instinctually, correct?
There's a lot of training involved, but
I don't have to play what you do.
yeah, you are a team with the horse, but your hands are down. So with the loose rein, and I think you use your calves if the horse is a little off, long or short, but basically that horse is such an athlete. It's brilliant. It's just amazing to be on a horse that's moving like that. And when you do it, I want to be there. So I want to see you. You will go crazy. It will be amazing.
My next calling. You were in these shows, you're traveling up and down. You were in your studio during that time, and then you got involved with Anderson Ranch, right? You were very involved there.
I started taking classes there at the same time as I moved to town in sculpture and working and really educating myself in a different way. do different things in my studio. And then had asked me to be on the board. So I was on their board for 12 years. And it made such a difference in my practice that I was so happy to be part of their community as a board member.
Yeah, it's an incredible
Yeah.
institution that we have in this valley.
Oh.
It's just even visiting there, you just feel the creativity.
Yeah.
It's almost like in the ground.
I learned so much from every interaction from being there. Were so articulate. They taught me how to really take myself seriously as an artist. And yeah, I can't say enough wonderful things about the things that I've done there.
And then a pivotal moment where you got your bonanza, right?
Oh, yes, I did. I got my bonanza. Getting well, that I was going through a divorce and I had a lot of animals. I had 4 horses, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and boarding horses was not going to be happening. So I had to find a little place, and I was fortunate that I could find a little place for little ranch for us all to live at. And to back up was that when I was, I want to say 6, 7, or 8 in there, I saw Bonanza and wanted to live on a horse ranch. I dreamed of it every night. I wanted to be Hoff's little sister. I wanted little Joe. I don't know what that meant at 6, 7, or 8, but I think he was my first viable crush. So I wind up in this little ranch. I mean, you have horses and they're up and they know you're up. And so every morning I I fed, I mucked, I had to do irrigation all summer, I had my own little tractor and I just loved life. And I just couldn't believe that one day I was like, oh my God, how am my horse? I couldn't believe that my dream from a little girl. Everything but little Joe, but that was okay.
I was similar, blessed enough to have my ranch as well. And there is nothing like waking up and seeing your horses, your animals, and just being so connected to the land. I think it teaches you lessons in many ways, but I think being so connected to the land is really important, and maybe that's kind of why this podcast came about is our connection to the land through ranch life and this valley. I think we have an amazing valley where people are still connected and are still involved in community. Let's talk about where you went after this. I mean, you're in Missouri Heights, correct? That was a house up in Missouri Heights.
Mhm.
And then some years go by and you meet your husband, Kevin,
Mhm.
and move to Woody Creek. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. We had a commute in the school for his son. So I sold my ranch and we built together in Woody Creek. And it was so much fun to live there. I had the horses there. Um, yeah, it was I loved living in Woody Creek. It was adorable little town. And at that time it was, it was so local. So
Yeah, I think it is still a bit because it's kind of affordable. But anyhow, that's actually how Andrea and I met. So many years ago, gosh, it's over 10 years, right? My ex-husband was flying back from the East Coast and he gets home and he's like, oh, I sat next to this very interesting doctor. And for those of you who know Dr. Paula Caddison, and she lives down the road from us. And then the next day, I'm like, this woman's walking down the driveway, and that's Paula bringing a basket of goodies. And then she invited us to a dinner party, and you and Kevin were there, and we hit it off so well, and we were unintentional neighbors from there. but tell us more about the house, because that house is really special. Um, just coincidentally, one of my closest friends, other closest friends, is now the custodian of that house, Sophia Wardy and Pepper Wineglass. But tell us about the house, because it was so curated.
I have to say, it is so nice them, who are very good friends of mine as well, be in that house and love it the way that we did. And just, I mean, nothing makes me happier than knowing they're happy in that house. Um, the house was built around how we live, a lot of exterior space where I could look at the horses and, while I'm eating them and mucking every day, they were right there. Um, it was great. It was a really, really fun project. That there were a few things I did in the house, um, from my sculpture, furniture, sculptural, architectural elements. Um, that was fun, but we were really concentrating more on design aspects of it and space a little bit differently than what this new house is.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember uh, the mantelpiece, beautifully carved mantelpiece. And then, of course, all your furniture elements in the house were just really gorgeous. And obviously, I relate to it because there is like an African ethnic element in your work. Yeah, really. For those of you who don't know, it's originally from South Africa. So, uh, um, it really resonates with me, your
I,
furniture.
after I, I think a little after I was so into the Southwest and more of that indigenous culture, I started just researching like crazy, like Africa. And that time there wasn't the internet. So I have a really wonderful library of African books that just anytime I feel like I need to get my soul back, I just go through the books and go, and there's just something about the functionality of a piece and what comes of it with just a little extra care by hands, by carving, by inlays, and especially because the forms of both of these indigenous cultures are very bold and they're very strong forms. And then the, the, the surface textures and what they do really inspire what they do. And so gotten to go to Africa a few times and I worked there in Ghana for a bit. And then when I met you, I'm like, I want to know. I have not been to Africa yet. But it's on my bucket list, and the art coming out of South Africa right now is just, oh, it does something to me. It's just got something about it that from the soul that I feel from that area.
Well, it's so interesting to me because
Mhm.
I grew up like a barefoot little African girl running around with horses, by the way. But when I got here in the early 2000s, I fell in love with this valley and finally got to move here, 12 years ago. Um, to me, it was like just having barefoot on the ground here was so similar to the sentiment and the energy from where I grew up. So it really resonated with me. I kind of felt like I was home. Obviously, they're so different, but the resonance. I know it sounds a little woo woo, but anyhow. Let's talk about the art base and basalt. I'm spending a lot more time in basalt lately, and it does fill my soul because I feel like basalt is what Aspen used to be like. Um, you know, Aspen used to be like you walk down the road and you would see you bump into 10 people, and you'd know people, whereas our office is on Hyman Mall, and I mean, we just look down at the circus of fur coats and Kimasabi hats, when it's 70 degrees out. But basalt really is kind of where I think community is. Um, I recently I managed to help Barbara Jean Brett from Golden Bough. I managed to help her with her commercial lease. Um, by the way, she's moving a couple of doors down, sort of midway on Midland, and just noticing the vibe. Walking around, somebody's on the sidewalk doing at art base, doing like chalk stuff, and then people are walking around. They're connected. Um, my friend Carly Urel just opened up a fantastic yoga studio called Old Town Yoga. And it's such a special place. And Kevin's office is actually right there too, right?
Yes, he's right there, right across from the yoga studio.
We talk about Kevin. Kevin is a water attorney, but he's also a very accomplished author, correct? He's like authored like 7 books, and they're called like thrillers.
Yep, they're thrillers, and he is got an agent that he's working on, an editor, and loves his writing. And a lot of it has to do with infrastructure and water and the current times. So they're very current. They're great
Yeah.
turners.
The art base, you've done a really amazing job of mentoring some young ladies, and yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
The art base is a great community-oriented organization, and I love what they do for Basalt. I think they're the heart of Basalt, actually. But they have 2 mentorship programs there that I've loved working with, and what is the Claudette Carter, which is more of a one-on-one. And in that case, I prefer and chosen just young girls, because I feel like with what I do, and there's a if there's a sense of you can do it, kind of something that I'd like to instill in them and to find their voice. The other mentorship program is the Laura Thorne sculpture program, which I was asked to be their inaugural mentor, which was such an honor because Missy Thorne, she was such a force, an incredible artist. She started most of with a group, like the Art Museum and the Writers Foundation, all back in the early days in the 70s, to have such a cultural element in Aspen. So it was really an honor to be chosen and asked to do. And so I had 6 students, which was double what we thought it was going to be. There were boys, and they were great.
Nothing wrong with boys.
They were all so committed. It was such a great experience. I loved it, and I'm sure I'll do that again, because it was great for me too. And so I love that aspect of working with that age group. That age group is like 15, 16-ish, and they are suggested by their art teachers at their schools. So it's really fun to be able to work with them.
Yeah, and it's amazing that the schools have that program, because we're hearing all around the country that art classes are the first ones to be cut, and to have that on top of art classes that we have in this valley, I think really cultivates a sense of creativity. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Business name is Lay. Do you mind telling us where that name comes from?
Well, my nickname for a few people that were very special to me was Andy. And then my maiden name is Lewin. So I kind of made an amalgamation of it. I still have my first husband's last name. It was just such a pain. I was already in business working as that, and Cher had it going on. I could go by one name. I would just tell any young girl, please don't lose your name. It just felt like I didn't want to carry that into my business. So and the term Andalay, is a, is meaningful, holds a lot of energy in itself. So, I have a little hyphen in there that is, an amalgamation.
Okay. That makes so much sense. You know, you and I have so many parallels. I also kept my ex-husband's name. Charlie is actually my nickname. I think when I came to this valley, nobody knew me as Chantal. And um, you know, it's such a pain to change your name, and I'm always keeping it because why not, right?
Right.
But you know, Carbondale holds so much community for me. When we first came here, we had a foot in Aspen, but the house was down in Carbondale, and my people were there. I mean, the first couple of years, I was on a reining team up at Skyline. So, you know, people like Martha and Doc, Erasmo, Charlie Horn, all of that group, they were just so amazing to me. And then my son was at CRMS. So, you know, when my world blew up, um, I would, even though I wasn't in Carbondale. I was coming down on a Wednesday night to take him out to dinner because he boarded during the week and then he'd come home on the weekend. So I was connected and disconnected to Carbondale for many years. But, you know, I feel like I'm part of the fabric there. And, you know, that's where I started out. And that's where, especially with if you live an equestrian or horse life and being in, you know, ranch and land real estate, I spent a fair amount of time down there. But all right, so back to you. Between Woody Creek and the house in Missouri Heights, you were in Basalt for a couple of years while you were building the Missouri Heights house. And I remember talking to you and Kevin, or sitting on your porch once, and you were like, you used to go up there and camp, kind of figure out exactly how you wanted that outdoor area to be. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we bought the property. It was a funny story because we didn't look at anything else. And our realtor at the time, because I didn't know you, took us took us up there, and we were laughing because the areas, it's not complicated, but we couldn't really find it. But we found this lot. We walked in this lot. We looked at each other. And we were like, "Done. This is it." I mean,
The best client ever.
he's like, "What?" No, this is it. Well, don't you want to look at anything else? No, this is it. It's done. It had everything. It was private. It's down a long road. It's heavily treed. I knew the view is there. We wound up, taking trees down. Once we owned it, we took trees so that we could see the view. We knew where the house had to be, sort of, but we didn't know how far up. But what we learned about it was where we, it was going to always be facing Mount Sopris, but how far front or back was pretty much the question. And so we had a little spot and we put up big tent. And I'm not really camping girl. They were huge. I mean, they had living room kind of tents, one tent, because they always blew down because there's some wind up here in Missouri Heights, just a little. And one of our tents looked like a house. I mean, it was crazy. And we would there's nothing better than coffee in the morning. And that's when over COVID, we did the COVID project, which is Lucinda, taking the horse trailer, which is a 4-horse trailer, making it a 2-horse trailer so that we had a shell that I was thinking we would camp there, but we wound up going all over the place. We camp in that all the time. And, it has solar and it has electric. And that was that Lowe's. We were at Lowe's during COVID and that was about it. And because I have this studio that has all the equipment, we just backed up this trailer and we did insulation of walls and ceiling and flooring. And, now I can camp.
The glamper, Andrea. The glamper.
Still haul 2 horses.
So let's get back to COVID because obviously a lot changed over COVID for all of us, for better or for worse. You came here to the Valley in what, 93? I think you said.
I think 90 was the first one here.
Okay.
93, I think I was full-time by then.
So, I mean, going up and living in Aspen, then coming down to Basalt, and now you're in Missouri Heights, you've seen a lot of change. Can you tell us about the change you've seen? And please be transparent. I mean, just tell us how it is, for better or for worse, right?
You know, every decade, people have things to complain about in what changed, from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s. Being here in the 90s, Aspen was a community. And the things that you were involved with were to help the community, whether it was the hospital foundation or the education foundation. And it was just more community. And it just doesn't feel community in the same way. And I think being down that where I was in 2000, it was dark down here. Now it's like, God, there's just it's got a lot going on here. I think, finding your little slice of heaven wherever that can be. And I'm so rural and quiet where I am, and then I come down the hill that takes about 12 minutes when I drive anyway.
It's that little Porsche, like the wheels spin.
Yeah, my little truck can do that just as fast. I can get down to Whole Foods in 12 and a half minutes and I'm fine. But yeah, I mean, it's busy. I don't feel, look, Aspen just isn't the community that I remember it. And it's still a beautiful town and people enjoy it the way they enjoy it. But for me, what was the most special part was the community and how everybody worked together to make it better for the people that lived there. So those are my thoughts about the community.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel, it's interesting because Aspen is such a pedestrian town. So, you're kind of in the supermarket, whether you like it or not, you would see so many people, but moving out Valley now, we're all in cars, to get to where we are. But I do feel like what they're doing on Midland in Old Town is really, ties this community together. And, there's a lot of restaurants that are opening. And I mean, that's kind of, where we all go to eat, which is great. So we'll have some more options and hopefully, with the new restaurants going in, they will be local friendly, which will be great. So, yeah, it's just a migration, but I suppose that happens in any town. The house that you're in now, is beautiful, by the way. The views, the porch is my favorite. These sprawling views of Cyprus. But you've given a lot of thought to this house. I mean, obviously Woody Creek was done in a certain way, but this house is done differently, and your studio is there, and you're kind of doing something unique as of summer. Tell us a little bit about your studio and what you're up to.
Well, I knew when this house, what I wanted in the end was to be able to showcase my work. And since Woody Creek, I mean, I've done so many different projects, different inspirations that, there was more that I wanted to do. So this house was just a playground for me and all the things that I could do in different places. So I'm opening my home up for appointment and the studio, share what I do, my processes, the how I integrated the things that I did into my house. The sculptures that I'm doing now will be installed in the landscape, so I'm working on them. I have a lot of commissions going on, so it'd be fun to share that process as well. So, um, yeah, it takes that long time to kind of feel a house, and I think this is going to be the fourth summer, and it takes a good 3 years to for everything to flesh out. And so, yeah, there are lots of projects continuing. But I'm excited to be able to invite people up and see the property and how beautiful it is up here, and what it's like living with an immersive art concept.
Well, that's really unique. I think you have an ad in the Aspen Sojourner this summer, right? And art in Aspen. So if you pick up a magazine in town, that will show you, I mean, those sculptures that you're doing right now are so beautiful because they're large, they're masculine, and then you've got like lace going on, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, because concrete, that's like, yeah. That's another thing. Um, there's something about industrial materials where you can take them and add this feminine aspect to it. But the concrete answered a question. Answered it was the material that I could get volume out of a form, and all of my forms, whether they're functional or not, have very strong form, very strong structure. But when you take the form as out of the requirement, then the structure can speak for itself, and it can be a conversation along with the more tactile surface treatments that I do. And so I'm taking this industrial material and putting a little bit of a feminine spin on it. So it's for me, it's duality where this form, whether, is it thought, there's an idea that if your form is a brutalist or austere, that it's taken more seriously. And something that's more feminine is often dismissed as women's craft. And so for me, the duality is pulling them together. So I'm working in that kind of a dialogue with the pieces that I'm working on now, which are, large monoliths, boulders, geological masses. So I like how they interact with the landscape, and this type of concrete has a different way of working with it that can almost become sculpturally um, delicate. And so, yeah, it's been, I'm having, really enjoying what I get out of this material.
Well, it's funny because I try and describe you to people like, well, she is a 6 foot something elegant, beautiful supermodel, but she works with welding irons and cement all day. So it's a perfect um, thing that you mentioned, duality, and of course, for us cowgirls in a way, that's the same thing, is hard on the outside and soft on the inside. In fact, I have a quote, that one poem that I wrote in the book about Geraldine this planet, and the quote is, ranch women are made of wildflowers and barbed wire, delicate enough to nurture life and strong enough to protect it. And that's exactly, who you are and who we are, strong women on the outside, but really enjoy our femininity on the inside, which is always a tough balance, right?
And I don't know why. I don't know why I found it really hard to embrace that, where I felt like I needed to pick a lane. And now it's like, why did I ever think that? It all translates over to the same as if you're ranching or if you're a horse person. You just do what you need to do to get it done. And it gives you such a great sense of competence that you can take care of things and get it done.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, I think.
Yep.
Competence, right? So, Andrea, you're one of my longest and closest friends and favorite people. When I had my pivotal moment where I ended up going through a divorce, Andrea kindly took me under her wing, and she sat me down one day and helped me understand how to navigate the social environment in us. And so, we really bonded then, and I really did appreciate that. It set me up for not
But
for failure, put it that way.
you navigate beautifully. I just want to say how proud I am of your book. And I just thought the poetry that you write just resonates. I can't, with me especially. And there's just some of the poems in there. It's like just so spot on and soulful. And thank you for writing that. Proud of
Well,
you.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. um, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was all about creativity, and host was saying, like, when you talk to an artist about their work, um, almost every artist will say that work through them. And I felt like that happened in this book, is that it came through me. And it was not like a 10-year write. Most authors spend 10 years trying to write a book, and it's a discipline. You sit down daily and whatever. This just came through me, just like your art comes through you. And what a gift in our day and age of AI, where, um, he this host was saying that, AI, they studied a younger group of individuals who work with AI a lot during the day, and their creativity was branded as vanilla. So that's kind of where this generation is going. And so, we really need to cultivate environments that foster creativity, and you've done that. I mean, your mentorship program, how you've given back to the community, from your Anderson Ranch days to the art-based mentorship. And so, I mean, you're such an incredible asset to the community, as well as being such a great, amazing friend. So, thank you for all that you do for this community, Andrea. Even though you're up on the hill, everybody bumps in with this welding concrete lady during the day. Enjoy your time, and hopefully you will get an opportunity to go up and spend some time with her. Her information will be in the show notes, her website, and her contact details. You can sign up for her newsletters as well. And then, lastly, thank you so much for spending time with Andrea and myself today on She Brands the Land, where land meets legacy. I hope you enjoyed the program. And wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, YouTube, or whatever, if you like the show, please subscribe or follow us and give us a rating. The ratings help with the algorithms. So there's that. But in any case, thanks for your time today. And until next time, giddy up and be well. This podcast is brought to you by One Chick Cowgirl Productions, keeping the Wild West alive.